Welcome to Full Court Tennis Advantage. Hi, I'm Brian Teacher, Australian Open champion, former 7 in the world in singles, and founder of the Full Court Tennis app. Today, we're going to dive into a critical topic for parents, and that is how to choose the right tennis coach for your kid. This isn't just about who's feeding tennis balls. It's about building an athletic foundation for long-term success. Athletic coordination comes first with any sport, and tennis is a very complex motor-driven sport. If your child hasn't played sports or hasn't grown up like even trying to play t-ball where he's developing hand-eye coordination, or baseball, soccer, basketball, start there first, because throwing, catching, movement, spacing your movement, and loading through your feet with your legs and torso, these movements are critical to tennis and really to any sport. Grand Slam winner Don Budge once told me, and he had a legendary backhand, okay? He was only one of 2 guys in the men's game to ever win a Grand Slam, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But he told me that he likened his backhand to hitting a baseball. So that stuck with me, because the loading and the unloading basically is very similar to what you do with loading your backhand or your forehand with your legs and torso, except you're moving to the ball. So most parents don't understand athletic foundations at all. And they don't understand how complex a motor skilled sport tennis is, the hand-eye coordination, the movement. And then there's a ton of technique to learn. So they think that by signing up for tennis lessons, their kid is going to learn the game and have fun. But, if your kid hasn't learned how to throw, pivot, or move athletic, they're going to struggle. Most coaches, by the way, they're not trained as physical educators. And this creates a big disconnect, because the parent, they expect progress, but the coach hits a wall if your kid's not coordinated, okay? So I recommend to at least play catch with your kid. Go on the grass or somewhere and throw a ball with them. Have them pretend they're a shortstop, where you throw the ball, they have to let it bounce and run over, grab it, pick it up like a shortstop, and then take a few steps and run and pretend like they're throwing the player out at home place. This creates a lot of innate coordination to be able to do that well without stopping and thinking about it, okay? And to do it well, to throw the player out, you need a lot of athletic coordination. And by the way, this gives you confidence to coordinate on the tennis court. So I highly encourage you to get your child to play in multiple sports till at least they're 13 years old. And Maxwell Lander, he was former #1 in the world in tennis in the 80s. And he told me he played 2 sports. He played ice hockey and he played tennis. He played ice hockey like 3 or 4 days a week and played tennis 3 days a week. And he did this until he was age 15 and a half. And then he decided to specialize and play tennis. And now get this. So a year and a half after playing 2 sports and then specializing in tennis, he wins the French Open at age 17, which is crazy. So the only way you do that is if you're really a good athlete, okay, which he was. And other players I know, like McEnroe, he played soccer as a kid, which helped him. He was a great mover on the court. And now Taylor Fritz, who's been as high as 4 in the world, I saw for sure he played basketball as he was growing up. So these multi-sport backgrounds build total athletes. Before your kids train hard, they need to enjoy the game. Okay, clinics are fun, but they need private lessons to get all the fundamentals down. And they're not going to get good at clinics. It's impossible. I assure you, there's no way. So once their fundamentals are down, then they can start playing practice sets. And you need to play probably at least 5 to 7 practice sets a week. You're not going to get that in clinics, but you could play 5 to 7 practice sets and then mix a few clinics in. You cannot rely on clinics being your main practice. You'll never get good. Impossible. I see so many kids, all they do is go to one clinic after another. There's no way to get good because you're not playing the game. You have to actually play the game and practice sets to get good. And I get it that coaches make way more money by getting 5 kids on a court, but just think of it this way. When you get 5 kids on the court, your kid's hitting a ball 1 out of every 5 times if he's lucky, as opposed to rallying back and forth with 2 kids on the court and then learning how to play a practice set. That's how they're going to get good. Once they start doing the practice sets, then you can get them starting to compete a little bit. And if you really want to get them on a faster track, once they start competing, you have to know why your kid loses. He has to be able to answer the question, why did I lose that match? Was it that I choked under pressure? Was it strategically that I missed? I wasn't playing the guy's backhand and his backhand was weak, but I couldn't get into his backhand because he was running around the forehand. So you need to be able to open the court up the other way. The kid has to know why he lost. Okay, sometimes it's guys moonballing, that he just sits around and waits for the ball and doesn't get his energy going forward. So it's super important for the coach to be able to see him play. But the coach is busy teaching tennis. So the coach doesn't want to leave his hourly rates to go down and waste a half a day to watch your kid play. It's not economical for the coach, and you can't really ask him to do it. But that's where full court tennis comes in, because you can now download the whole match and you can tag it what areas you want him to see it, so that he doesn't have to spend the whole time looking at the match, just key areas. The coach can download the Full Court Tennis app, where you can sign up at Full Court Tennis and analyze it and send it back to you. Or you know what? You can get one of our world-class coaches to give you an expert opinion. You can hire him on the app or website for an analysis of your match, and quickly they'll get it and send it back to you, and you'll be able to figure out what you're doing wrong, and then they'll give you advice on how to fix it. Another skill that you need to develop is that kids need to learn how to play the net. As I see today, the kids are not coming up to net enough. They're waiting in the backcourt, and they're not seeing the short ball and coming up to net. So you need to develop the full dimension of the game. So make sure that the coach that you have understands the transition game and the net game with the other skills. Otherwise, you're with the wrong coach. I can tell you that. You don't want to spend thousands of dollars with a coach and then realize at age 14 or 15 that your kid has no idea how to come up to net or transition in a mid-court game to come up and volley. You have to have those tools to be able to have more variation in your game, to have multi-dimensions, how to win the point. You don't want to just be able to win a point by serving and just staying back and hitting a forehand or back. It's like, how boring is that? You want to be able to have all the combinations of how to win points in your repertoire, and make sure you have a full net game, serve, volley, return, and all the shots. You got to have it to have fun in the game. When I turned pro after 4 years at UCLA, my first success was at Wimbledon and the US Open, and that was in doubles. So I got to the semifinals with an Australian, Bob Carmichael, who's about 15 years older than me, and he helped me a lot. He was kind of a tough Aussie guy. And anyway, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of old Bob. But we did really well. He taught me to be super aggressive on the court because I was just kind of too laid back. And so he really wanted me to pounce on the net and put the balls away, which I learned how to do. And so we did very well. And it gave me a lot of confidence in my game to think, oh, well, if I could have this success in doubles, maybe I could have this success in singles. And so I was able to start transferring some of that success and some of my vision over to trying to be successful in singles. And it helped me tremendously. So I have to also say that as a parent, so you have to, when the kids are younger, you need to encourage them to play in multiple sports, because it develops their athletic coordination, which they need in tennis till they're at least 13 years old. Have them play a couple sports, tennis and something else, to build your foundation. As a parent, if you don't play tennis, how do you evaluate your coach? Well, you can use Full Court Tennis app to compare your child's strokes to those of the top pros in our FCT Pro Library. I like to say there are different styles of play, but the fundamentals or the essential ingredients are the same of the top players. So I find that many kids plateau around 14 years old, and they hit a wall and they end up quitting shortly after. They can't get better due to poor technique. So you don't want to wait till it's too late. See how your kid matches up to the pros in the FCT Pro Library. Lessons don't show everything, that's for sure, but matches do. All right. So you need them to play matches. This is when your game breaks down under stress with different styles of play. Use Full Court Tennis to record, tag, and review matches. Coaches don't need to attend live matches. You just need to record it and then share the video on Full Court Tennis to get the analysis and address what's falling apart under pressure. Build coordination first. Choose a coach who teaches all dimensions. Make sure you make tennis fun and use match video and comparison tools to track growth. Every level demands asking, why did I lose? What do I need to fix? That's how players grow. I'm Brian Teacher. Thanks for listening to Full Court Tennis Advantage.